Alright, I'm fucking going through material faster than I ever do up here. Holy shit. Damn.
Where's the funny stuff?
Right, get to the funny stuff. Hilarious stuff.
You're listening to Hypothetically with Will Newman.
Morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is where you are. Thank you for listening to Hypothetically with Will Noonan. That's me coming at you right now from my apartment doing a podcast. It has been a long fucking time. You know what, guys? I'm sorry, kind of, but I've been having fun and I've been living my life. And if you've listened to this podcast a long time, you know that I get the summer blues, and this year, kind of the blues, kind of bad luck. We'll get to it, but holy fucking shit. Sorry, it's been a month, kinda. Sorry, not sorry. But now I'm here, and we're doing it. I've been doing so much shit this month that I haven't been doing the podcast. I won an award, Boston's Best Comedian from the Improper. That was huge. I was so poor during that time. I was poorer than I've been in years. I was broke-ass comedian, super broke. I didn't do any podcasts then because I didn't want to just come on here and bitch and moan about how poor I was. It sucked. I found a lost child. I returned it to the parents. I found a lost wallet. I returned it to whoever. That's a long story. We'll get to it. I bombed super hard. I had some shows where I killed. I was in a small car accident. I shot a commercial. I bombed so hard. Oh, I already mentioned that. And I've kind of been getting into country music. So many weird things have happened in the past month. And I'm here to talk about it all right now, guys. So let's start with the brokenness. I'm not a rich man, but I live within my means. You know what I'm saying? I don't need much. I don't need much money. I've come on here, I've bitched about money a lot on this podcast over the years. But I got to remember, I'm making better money now than I ever have. Headlining, all these different projects that I'm always doing, some commercials and stuff. But there's this thing in comedy where no matter how hard you work sometimes, or how hard you plan and how hard you save some money, and no matter what you do, sometimes you're just going to get in this weird fuck space of butt fucking where no one is paying you. Like, it just took, I just had a bunch of gigs that I did in July and June, and just everyone was pretty much just like, I'll pay you when I pay you. It's the weirdest new trend in comedy that I've seen and disliked. I don't know if it's a millennial thing or if it's just a 2018 like the world is fucking crazy thing. But this new lax attitude about paying comics in any sort of a timely manner sucks a trillion bajillion dicks. I don't fucking get it, and I've noticed it from bar shows where the dude who runs the show is going to Venmo you $20, all the way up to comedy clubs and comedy festivals. And, it's never been new for commercial production companies to take a long time to pay. But it's just, I know it's a freelancer's life, and this is part of it, but it is, when it all adds up, when no one is paying you, and then, eventually you end up getting checks, and you're like rolling in dough. But there was a period of time in July where like I was borrowing money from my fucking roommate and from everyone I fucking knew, and like had this little book of all the money I owed people, like 100 here, 100 there, just so I could buy groceries and fucking put gas in my car and shit. Meanwhile, I had just won an award, Boston's Best Comedian. Everyone's texting me, everyone's congratulating me, and it was so good, and it felt really good to win. I won't fucking bullshit you guys and act like I just didn't care about it at all. I so fucking loved it. Who doesn't love awards, and who doesn't love to be recognized for their work, right? I fucking enjoyed the shit out of it. It felt super good to win that award. And thanks for anyone who voted for me online. That's what feels so good about it. So anyway, it was such a weird juxtaposition of life to be at one place super high up, having everyone calling you and congratulating you, getting cool gigs, going to even when I went to go pick up the fucking award and went to like the awards ceremony party thing that the Improper Bostonian put together, I had like $20 in my pocket that I had borrowed borrowed from somebody, because it was just, I don't want you guys to think I'm still broke. It's over now. I fucking got my money from most of these people. One booker in particular, like, gave me an advance because he could just, I think people could start to see it. Like, people were starting to see me crack a little bit under the fucking anxiety of being broke. And not really my fault, I gotta say. Like, I know comedy can be really shitty about payment. So I like to keep my money in the bank, you know what I mean? Emergency funds. But during this month, while every comedy club booker and every, like, young guy with a comedy show was like, I'll pay you later. The money's coming. The check's in the mail. It's kind of funny to me when Venmo exists, banking exists. Like every bank has an app where they can transfer money in 1 second. Every, Venmo exists. PayPal has existed for a long time. But bookers are still like, it's going to be a couple weeks, or whatever. I don't even mind that as much as now it's like people don't even say anything to me sometimes. Like, I'll show up, I'll do the whole gig, and I'll be like walking out the door, and I'll be like, pay me? And then they'll be like, oh yeah, well, you know what, we'll send you a check in a couple weeks. That's just kind of how we do it around here. And I'm like, oh, cool. Bartender made about $1,000 tonight. Waiters made some money. You guys made thousands of dollars off tickets and drinks. But, yeah, I understand that the guy who did most of the entertainment here, or a huge chunk of it, just take your time. Take a couple weeks to pay me. I'm famously rich. Everyone knows comedians are just walking around with tons of money. So, like, please, take your time paying us. No big deal. Drives me up the fucking wall, man. And it doesn't get any easier as you move up, like, into better shows or headlining or anything like that. It's like, people just fucking, I don't get it, man. I think it's like because comedy's a fun thing to do, and people just think because you're having fun, like, there's no rush to give you any money. And to be honest, when I have money in the bank, I don't really bitch about it too much, because I'm like, oh, whatever, they will pay me when they pay me. But I'm starting to get irritated about it lately, because it's just, I hate waiting. I can look at my wall where I have a bunch of shit written down. I'm waiting on about $1,600 in money that's from the past 4 weeks of work. So that's $1,600 that has been made through my jokes. People have laughed, paid money. And that money is somewhere. And someone has it, and I don't. I just always think that's fucked up. I'm not saying, like, I'm not saying we should be paid, like, triple. I'm not saying we should be paid, like, as much as fucking cops and firemen. But holy fucking shit. Just pay us at all. We did drive there. Get dressed, shower. Things cost money. I don't, no one likes to talk about money, sort of, on this level, but it's fucking, like, it fucked, like, I was doing pretty good in my personal life and with my activities and all that shit, but it was like, man, it was hard to not get anxious and depressed when it's 100 fucking degrees outside, you got no money, and you're busy. That was the whole other problem. I'm a busy fucking guy. I do a lot of shows. I won this goddamn award, which I was super happy about, but of course, it makes you busy. You got to go do things. So while I'm doing radio shows and fucking comedy shows and driving all over the place, no one's paying me for anything, and it's just money out, money out. Every time you buy a fucking cup of coffee, you're like, there's $2 that I don't have, and I don't know when the next check is coming. So I hate to fucking bitch about this, and I'm going to stop right now. But I know my fellow comedians out there feel the same way, and we never talk about it publicly, but we just bitch about it when we're together. And it's annoying as fuck. So that's why I want to take this opportunity to thank everyone who has donated to the podcast in the past during this time. Jess, Flatcat on Twitter, she donates often. Really want to thank her for that. Nicole, who writes for a newspaper up in New Hampshire, she has donated a lot. She's a super great person, great new enthusiast. All these people who I'm mentioning are, shit. I just looked through my emails and I still can't figure out. I missed a few people because people were donating while the show wasn't on. But to shout out, like, the the most supportive and awesome people who I remember often donate. Flat Cat for sure. What else? I'm looking through Twitter right now. Stiz Grimy, he's a great guy. We'll say he donated. Mark McNabb. This is a great shout out section, Will. You're like barely getting people's names even close to correct, and just taking forever. We got Mark McNabb, we got Nicole, we got Jess. They're people who donate regularly. Mike Osborne's another good dude who's donated to the podcast and often gives me shit for not putting them out. And, of course, all the awesome people on Twitter. So, actually, I'm going to do a thing at the end where I thank, do some thank yous and shit for the awesome, cool award that I got. And I have a lot of people to thank because most of those people, they're the reason why, honestly. I mean, people voted. I couldn't believe it. Couldn't fucking believe it. It felt so good, to be honest. Like, I did not expect to be winning anything. I didn't even know I was up for any type of thing. And then I was sitting around I was at my sister's house sitting around a table with all my family for my niece's birthday. And I just got this email that was like, you won an award. And I'm familiar with the Improper Bostonian's Boston's Best Awards. I see them every year. I always thought I'd never win one. I was like, I'll never win Best Comedian. I'm a white guy. It's not hot right now. I'll never win. But I did. And I got you guys to thank to that. So, but I got a whole list in my head, which it'll probably go as good as that list of donators in my head, but I want to do that at the end. So, a lot of people, when they see I don't put a podcast out for a while, they get scared and they think that I'm depressed or anxious because in the past, especially like 3 years ago, I really did get pretty depressed and anxious, and I was very open about it. And I'm actually proud of that fact that I was open about the tough times that I've been through, and I am open about it when it happens. Right now, I'm going through a good time. I'm going to be open about that, but it does happen. There's a guy here in Boston who does morning radio, Kirk Minahan. I don't know him at all, never met him. Or listen to his show a ton, Kirk and Callahan in the morning on WEI, but because I'm not normally up at that time of day, but I've heard his name a zillion times over the years. But anyway, he very publicly over the past couple of days has talked about, he had himself hospitalized. He had some suicidal thoughts. He was just going through hell, man, mental hell, and he got the help, and he's been open about it. And I just think that's the fucking greatest thing a person can do who's going through something, anything really, because especially with stuff like depression and anxiety, I'm lucky I've gotten a lot of help. I've gotten medication. I've got great friends and great people around me, and I've got even you guys in this podcast. It's all been very therapeutic, and luckily for me, I've gotten away from a lot of stuff. Obviously, I'm a human being. I still have bad days, but through a lot of work, all that shit, things been going good. And I think I remember, though, being 22 and 23 and feeling completely alone with it, completely insane, afraid that I was insane, and just really going through. When I look at it now, I see a lot of people at that age going through that thing, and I'm like, it's kind of the age, man. You're an adult. You're becoming an adult. You still feel like a kid. You don't fucking understand what's going on. People are looking at you like you should be doing more. It's a crazy time. And I also think just the way people are expected to be now is a lot more perfect than the way people were expected to be in the past. We put labels on things like anxiety and depression. They weren't there before, So that's why people sometimes go, oh, my grandfather was never depressed. It's like, yeah, maybe he wasn't clinically or diagnosed, but was he an alcoholic? Did he ever disappear for a couple weeks? Were there periods of time where he couldn't get out of bed? When you start asking questions like that about older relatives, you're going to start getting a lot of yeses, and those things are reflective of those problems. So I feel good that Kirk Minahan did that, and I feel good in my life right now, and I don't want you guys to be worried about me, but it's sweet that you are. But I will say, I had some anxiety during that period of time when I was during basically the whole month of July, or most of it, when I was stretching $1 as far as I could. And my anxious brain was coming back. It wasn't necessarily, oh my God, I'm broke, I'm anxious about it. You know, that's not how anxiety works. Anxiety goes, oh my God, you're broke. You're never going to be solid. You'll never be able to support a family. You're going to die homeless. Like, that's how anxiety works. So I was walking around carrying a little bit of that energy some days, but luckily, you know, I meditate, I run, I eat all right, and I've been getting, you know, staying social. Those are the keys. Those are things that kind of keep you in check. So luckily, I said it to my buddy Pat a million times. I was like, thank God it's happening right now where I can do this. But I've kind of been saying I feel like I just got over anxiety for like 2 or 3 years. So it's good. It's good, but I've been kind of helping a lot of people lately, close friends with the same problem. And it always kind of makes you take a look at yourself. So, I don't know. Thank you, Kirk Minahan, for just being rad. My thing with money, too, wasn't just, like, not getting paid, even though that was a major, major, major part of it. But the reason why my savings were pretty much gone was because I was in a small car accident. And believe me, that put me not in the fucking mood to do a podcast or anything. So I'll just tell you this story. I went and did Danny Picard's Pick Up Ya Sticks internet show. And it was so fun. Such a good time. We played WWE 2K18, laughter. It was just a good fucking day. So I'm all in a good mood. I leave Danny. I go get a coffee and some snacks. I'm eating the snacks. I'm coming home. It's all good. Good fucking day. I'm coming off the highway. And it's pouring rain. Summer rain. Pouring. And I come off the highway, and there's an on-ramp, and then there's this drawbridge, and the drawbridge is up. So traffic is stopped. So I stop. The guy in front of me, everyone just stops. Traffic, dead, standstill for about a minute, 30 seconds, right? So I'm sitting there, and I will be honest, I glanced at my phone, but then I started fucking with the radio, right? So while I'm fucking with the radio, flipping through radio stations, traffic starts to move again, you know, very slowly. And the guy, it must have been a chain reaction thing, but the guy in front of me hit his brakes. I hit my brakes. I mean, we're going 3 to 5 miles per hour. But because I'm pointed down the on-ramp and it's pouring fucking rain and it's an on-ramp, which like has that slick ass, never changed cement, and it hadn't rained in a while, even 3 to 5 miles per hour, I slid right into the back of this guy's fucking car. You know, I was probably too close to him, but like I said, we had all just been stopped, right? So I hit the back of this guy's fucking car, but I don't hit like his bumper and that shit. He's got one of those cars that have a spare tire on the back. It wasn't a Jeep, but it was like a Honda Jeep. And so I just crush my hood a little bit, like dent the shit out of my hood. It basically looked exactly like you would think if you jammed a spare tire into your hood. But his car, nothing. Just a little bit of a fucking scratch on whatever leather case was around his spare tire, right? It was a little ripped. But his bumper was fine. His car was fine. My shit was fucked up, right? But you know, drivable, not steaming or anything. It was all cosmetic. So we're standing there, we do the whole fucking thing, which I hate, which is like you gotta pull over, like right there. I'm like, can't we just drive? Like, I'll follow you to a spot and we can do this privately. They have to pull over on the fucking side of the on-ramp and act like assholes. That's what you want to do. So I look up, he's got veteran license plates. I'm like, oh, I'm such a piece of shit. He was cool, though. At the scene, very cool. He's like, hey, man, happens, whatever. I was like, yeah, it's fucking rain. We just exchanging info, and he's like, you know, I don't even think my car's not even really fucked up, so if you don't want to go through insurance, that's cool. I'm like, yeah, that'd be great, you know. I'm like, I hate going through insurance. I'd rather just pay out of pocket because it always fucks you, you know. So he's like, yeah, we're looking at it and stuff. I wish I took a bunch of pictures of his car because 2 or 3 days later, I get a call from this dude, and he's like, I was looking at my car, and it's kind of fucked up. The bumper is, like, all buckled and shit. And I was like, dude, what are you talking about, man? Like, my car's fucked up. We were both there. Well, I think we were going to go through the insurance now. And now he wants to go through the insurance, and then I find out through my insurance that this dude's trying to basically get a whole new fucking car off of my ass. So I had to deal with that in the middle of being a broke ass motherfucker. Oh, and right before that, a week or two before that, I put brand new brakes in the car, which cost about $700. So even talking about this again is bumming me the fuck out. It was stressful, borrowing cars while the car's getting fixed, like motherfucking dealing with cranky insurance agencies. This dude was trying to scam me, man. He was trying to get me to get the work done at his body shop. He lied to his insurance company about what town the accident took place in. He said it took place in a town called Randolph, which is like miles away from where the accident actually happened in Dorchester. I thought it was just an extremely shady and weird situation, which hasn't even really been fucking figured out yet. So more to come on that, but holy shit, it was it was the beginning of like a really crappy couple weeks dealing with that shit. So I was I talk about this kind of every summer, but I got this thing where I'm like born under a certain sign where all the bad shit pretty much, or most of the bad shit that's going to happen to me in a year usually happens to me in July and August. This year, I feel like it came a little early. It was more like the end of June and most of July. So I don't know. Maybe it doesn't have anything to do with the calendar. Maybe it's more about fucking where the planet is or some shit. I don't fucking know. But let me tell you, I'm like born under a bad sign, July and August. And I can go all the way back through my fucking life and tell you that. Someone important to me is going to die, usually during those months. My nervous breakdown and fucking quitting drinking 9 years ago, August 16th. Just bad shit goes down. And it's always, I don't know if it's maybe just humidity trips me up, so I just notice things more, but I swear, even my good friends who have known me for years, when I got in this car wreck, they were like, dude, your summer, you got that summer bad luck, man. What is it? It's coming, But like I said, can I really say that when I won a random award I didn't expect to win and it was good for business? That was good luck, But I was definitely thinking, I was like, what did I do karmically to fucking deserve all this shit? So I'll be honest, when I was going through my life, as I always try and do, I like to try and do a good deed for a motherfucker from time to time. I like to try and be kind to people. I like to smile at people on the street, say hello. I've heard those stories about people, speaking of suicide in Minahan, like people walking to go commit suicide, and then someone smiles and says, how you doing to them when they're on their way there, and they decide not to do it. I remember hearing a story about that when I was like 12, and I've never fucking forgotten it. And unless I'm like in my own shit, I always try and do it. Not in New York. I mean, you'd go insane. But everywhere else, I try and do it. It's a fucking fundamental part of life. And it's funny how many people will do anything to not return it. Like, they'll look at their feet. They'll make these weird contorted faces at me, like that they would never normally. I don't even know what that expression means. It's like a mix of a smile and pain mixed together. And it always makes me laugh, But I like to think about that. I did the Rob Saul show, and I felt like I came off like kind of a softie, but I was like, yeah, man, it's good to do a good deed, So I like to go on walks and runs and stuff. So Castle Island's where one of the places I like to go here in South. Yeah, I was at Castle Island. And this was a few weeks ago. I'm walking around. It was busy. It was like a Saturday. Thousands of people walking around Castle Island. And I'm one of them, It's hot, but it's always breezy down here. I'm walking around and had to take a piss. And that was bad news, because it's a park. Public bathrooms at a park, rarely very nice. I know the Castle Island public bathrooms from my youth. They are terrible and scary. And also, let's be completely honest, probably another one of my mom's anxieties that she planted in me was the Castle Island bathrooms being a death trap or something bad. So even at this age, in my 30s, I still gotta like kind of suck it up, go in there and pee without fear. I go in, I take my pee, and I'm walking out. And I've been doing this as a stand-up joke, but I'm not going to tell you guys like the joke version of the story. I'm going to tell you the true story. So I come out of the bathroom, and I'm walking, going along my way, and I notice out of the corner of my eye a little kid who's 7, and he's standing there by himself, and he looks lost. He's got those big eyes of a lost kid. His head is on a swivel. He's looking at every person who walks by, and he just looks like he's about to start crying and freak out. So I noticed no one was really doing anything, and people were walking by, and there was a group of mentally handicapped people who were kind of making a ruckus, and everyone was kind of looking at them, and this kid was on his own. So I was just kind of like, hey, are you all right? Are you lost? And he was like, yeah, I'm lost. So I was like, okay, we'll find your mom, all right? We'll find her. And, the story I've been telling on stage is that the kid came up to me and said, I'm lost. But the truth is, he just looked fucking lost. And I went up to him. But in the stand-up joke, I say when the kid asked me for help, I almost said no because it's not a good look for a single guy in his 30s to be walking around with a little kid he's a stranger to. But, which was true. It did go through my mind. I was like, someone else should help this kid, not me, but no one was. And I was kind of like, fuck it. Like, if this were my nephew, I'd want someone to help. So I put my fears of being arrested for some crazy 2018 reason away. And I was like, hey, kid, you need some help? And he said yes, and he looked happy that someone was helping him. So I really expected this to be a very quick turnaround. I was like, we're going to find his mom in seconds. Most kids, they think they're lost. She's really right around the corner. And also, she's probably looking for him, and it's not that big of a place. So in my mind, I'm like, dude, we do one loop of Castle Island. We'll find this lady, No problem. I'm like, where, I'm trying to do some detective work. I'm like, where, what was the last conversation you had? What's she wearing? Blah, blah, blah. What do you remember seeing around her? So we're walking around, and it was, he did try and hold my hand, and I was like, no, we don't need to hold hands. I was like, just stay close. Like, and we're walking around, and no one's, I'm keep looking. I'm also looking for a state trooper or a Boston cop, but I didn't see any of them either. And I felt like, I'm like, no wonder this kid's scared, because as soon as he was with me, I was like, I'm scared too. I was like, this place is crazy crowded. Oh my God, what are we gonna do? So it was kind of awkward walking around with this little guy, but we did eventually. He spotted his mom. She was sitting down up on a hill playing with a baby, his little sister, and wasn't looking for him. And just the amount of time that I had spent looking for her with this kid was around 5 or 6 minutes. So I was shocked that she was just sitting there playing with the kid, not worrying or wondering where her boy was, Still had his bike helmet on. The bike was sitting next to her. So I walk up with him, but as I saw her lack of care, I kind of just got 10 feet away from them and was like, go ahead, And she was and she goes, oh, I forget the kid's name, but she was just like, why you're always running away, blah, blah, blah. And, and that was that, really. She looked at me very quickly and was like, thanks, he's always doing that. Thank you so much, thanks. And all I could hear was my mother's voice in my head being like, you're lucky. You're lucky, my son's a good guy. Your kid could have been in a van with a pedophile. He could have been in Revere by now. He could be dead. Your kid could be dead. It only takes a second. It only takes a second for you to disappear. Never be seen again. He could be fucking dead. You wonder why I have panic attacks. That's the woman I was raised by. I love her very, very, very much. And she's softened a lot, but she was a very anxious woman. And a real heavy fear of the world and child molesters. So that's the kind of thing I'm constantly up against. Ooh, made myself laugh at that one. I love you, Mom. I watched her house, her and my dad's place. Went back and watched that for a week. Hung out with Russ. It was so good. So they are the best. And they loaned me money when I needed it, so I shouldn't bitch about them. But let me tell you, don't tell your kids all the ways they can die, because then they grow up and need medication. So that was that, right? But I'm like thinking karma, good karma. Returned a lost child to his mother. That's great karma. This is not bullshit. Very next day, I'm at Castle Island again, walking. I know you're going, Will, why aren't you running? You're a runner. 2 reasons. A, it's been very hot, and I really don't do well in the heat and humidity. And B, had some knee and ankle issues on the right leg. Nothing to be alarmed about, but I decided to give the knee joint and ankle joint on my right leg some rest, some running rest. I was still doing some long 5-mile walks, but I was like, there's something a little jank, something a little crank in the old knee, so let's like just take it easy for a little while. So that's what I was doing, but taking long walks around Castle Island just to, get the fuzzies out and all that shit. So, walking around Castle Island, and very next day, alone again, stoned again, and I'm walking around, and I'm almost at the exact same spot where this kid's mother was. It was probably 20 to 30 feet from where his mother was, where we found her. I find on the ground a wallet. A woman's clutch type wallet, I open it up. It's got about $60 cash inside. Driver's license, credit cards. It was loaded. If I was a bad guy, could have had quite a day for myself with this woman's credit cards and cash. I mean, $60 wouldn't even get me a bag of weed, but not the kind of weed I smoke. But could have been a fucking prick about it. I never would have done that though, even in my early days. Even when I was struggling, I probably wouldn't have fucked with that. Because it's fun to return a wallet to someone. It's like such a fun favor, You're like, return it, and the person like can't believe it, and you feel great. You feel like a fucking hero. Why lie? That's part of the reason why people do good things. A big part of the reason is because it fucking feels good. And me, I got the added bonus of I'm going to be able to talk about it on stage and to you guys. So I got a lot of personal, sort of selfish reasons to do nice things, but I try and assess it, and deep down in my heart, I actually think I do these things just because I like them, like to do good things for good people. But let's not all act like every single charitable act does not have a little bit of fucking I'm pretty great mixed in to that, right? So I found this wallet, and I'm like, even have the thought to myself, I'm like, man, I'm going to return this wallet. That's like two heroic acts in one fucking day. Amazing. I'm amazing, right? So I call. It took a little bit of work. I had to figure out who this lady was and how the hell I was going to contact her. So I have to go through her fucking wallet, you know what I mean? So she had a name that was extremely common, turns out, which was her last name was Fernandez, and her first name, I guess I shouldn't say, but it was a very common first name. So I was like, I can't just look her up, But I did. I dug through her wallet, and I found her business cards, where she keeps her business cards. I called that number, and it went to her office, obviously. So then I called the company she worked for. She was a physical therapist. She worked for this big company. I called them. they're like, the woman on the phone there doesn't know who I'm talking about, but she has the same vibe that I have of like, oh my God, this is so fun. Let's get it back to her. It's so fun to return a wallet. We're heroes. So I'm like, yeah, here's the deal. Just give her my phone number. I'm going to walk around Castle Island for like another 20, 30 minutes waiting, and just have her call me, and I'll meet her somewhere. I bet she's still here. Look, she's probably looking for her fucking wallet, right? And of course, I'm hanging out in the spot where I found the wallet while I do all these calls. Takes a while. I walk around for like 15, 20, carrying a fucking like Coach purse in my hand. I probably looked like quite the gay. And I get this call, and it's a male voice. It's her boyfriend. They're together, and they're at Castle Island, and they want the wallet back. And I'm like, of course. I'm like, here, I'm at this spot in front of Sully's. Come meet me. And they're like, we'll be there in a couple minutes. And I am feeling fucking good. I'm ready to, get my smiles, get my fucking daps, right? And they show up. And at first, the guy is giving me a little bit of like what I want. Thank you so much, right? But but I'm picking up almost immediately a very suspicious vibe from these two. They're the Fernandezes. They're kind of fucking suspicious of your boy Will, because they're like, I don't know why though. I couldn't figure it out. I was like, do they think that this is my scam? I steal wallets and then give them back or whatever. Like, the cash was in there. Everything was in there. So I was like, why is this woman, especially her, being so suspicious of me? He was kind of being cool, but I think they thought, looking back on it, I think what they thought was that I wanted a reward, right? Like, I think they thought I was fishing for $50 or $40 or something, and they were waiting for that moment, for that to be implied, and that anticipation of that moment was what I picked up as a suspicious vibe, right? That's what I think. And then I was pissed about that. But then I thought about it even more, and I realized that, in a sense, they were picking up on the right vibe, because I did want a reward. I didn't want the money, but I wanted her to offer me $20 so I could say, absolutely not. Like, I wanted that reward. I wanted her to say, here, please take some money. And I wanted to be like, oh, no way. Oh, my God, it's just enough for you to not have to go to the DMV. Please. Thank you, but no, that's all I wanted. It's the little game we all play, the little charade, the little back and forth. You make me feel good for returning your wallet. I returned the wallet. Everyone's happy, But once they had the wallet, they were out of the fucking game. They were like, hey, game's over. Fucking weirdo. Stop looking at us with these wanting eyes. So I give it back, and then I'm like, well, that was fucking worth my time. I should have just handed it to the fucking people who work at Sully's, like I thought about. But I was like, I don't know. I wanted to hand it off, right? So I was like, well, they just made me feel fucking weird and suspicious instead of like a hero. So I'm thinking about that for like 15 minutes as I'm walking home. And I'm walking down Day Boulevard getting home, and then I happen to see them again. They must have driven ahead of me and gone to like a different spot. So I see them again, and then I go, I'm going to say hello and see what their reaction is. Because you know me, sometimes I read people wrong. Sometimes I project my own shit onto people. So I'm like, I know, I'm gonna see them, say hello, and they're going to go, that's the guy who found the wallet, hey, right? So I see him again, and I'm like, hey, guys. This is the hello I get. Hey, a little bit of a wave. They looked at me like, oh, God, there he is again. He's going to try and steal our wallet again and return it again. It was the weirdest fucking thing. So 2 days in a row, do something nice at Castle Island. 2 days in a row, it ends weird. And I walk away with fucking, like, no love. Just a weird feeling. So if that's not indicative of my weird summer blues or my weird summer luck or whatever, it's just all there. All the fucking signs are there, man. Car wreck, brakes breaking. I just realized how funny that was. Bombed super hard at this corporate gig. About to get to that. And then this kind of stuff, I'm being poor as fuck, which I'm not anymore, thank God. But it was crazy, man. I feel like there's a million other. All right, yeah. For example, you're like, Will, all this stuff doesn't mean you're having bad luck. Let me just tell you about some of the little things. There was a day where I turned the key in my car to start it, and the key snapped off. There was a day where I put on my dress shoes to go do a dress-up type show, and the heel of my shoe fell off. Put on a shirt, button it up, a button pops off. It was that kind of month, motherfuckers. Everywhere I went, everything I touched, something bad kind of happened. It all kind of started with not being paid and needing new brakes for my car, and ended really well with something I'm not going to tell you guys about now. Tell you about another time. Yeah, so it was just a weird fucking time. So I'm going to get in. I'm going to pause and pee. I've been drinking a lot of coffee today. I'm going to pause, take a pee. I'll be right back. And we'll talk about the terrible gig I did. All right, I'm back. That was a very relieving pee. I feel great. I also got these Glade plugins. They smell like fresh linen. Shoots that fucking smell out every once in a while. It's great every time. I'll be sitting here just like, coming back from peeing, about to start a podcast up. I'll be like, damn, it smells good in here. Fucking smells great. So anyway, I did this corporate gig. There's really not that much to say, but I know me bombing hard is always enjoyed by you guys on this podcast. And yeah, I bombed so hard, man. And it was even funnier with all this stuff having to do with this Boston's Best Award. There were a lot of ironic moments, when you've been knighted in some way or given a title as Boston's Best. And then a lot of like fucked up things are happening to you, and also you do this gig where you just are seemingly Boston's worst. It was, comedy will always keep you humble. So the story is this: golf tournament type gig. It was a golf tournament gig, but a high end one. And I don't want to say what the club was or bury anyone there, because the people who hired me for it were all like really nice guys. It was just the members, country club members, and a little bit like just bad luck. So anyway, I get this gig and pays pretty good. And drive out to I'd asked some of the people I work for, I'm like, hey, I need money, so put me out there, whatever you got. And then one of them came back with this, so I can't complain about it. I'm not going to complain about the gig. I'll do this again. But it was fucking hard and disheartening, because actually not really, like it didn't really fuck me up in any actual way, but the drive back to Boston, I had feelings that I hadn't had in a couple years, comedy feelings that I had not had in a couple years, like feelings like being mad at a heckler in the audience. Like, I was really mad at this heckler. I hated him. I actually think that's why this happened. So I always do this, fucking ruin stories. So the guy, I go to this gig, and I'm supposed to be on stage at like 7:38. Everything gets delayed 1 hour. So these guys who have been playing golf all day, drinking all day, drinking after they eat, they drink for an hour, they're shooting the shit with each other. It's now like 9:30. These guys have been at the golf course 12 hours minimum. They put me on stage. Oh yeah. Before they put me on stage for about 45 minutes, this guy goes up there and he's making the announcements like, guys, you keep leaving your clubs outside of the clubhouse when you go in. You're putting them in the wrong spot. All right, make sure you put your clubs over by the ball bags. And everyone's like, bah, bah. I'm talking wealth. There's wealthy people in this room, and they're going like, fuck you, Johnny. And everything anyone yells at this guy who's doing the announcements is getting laughs. And I'm thinking to myself, this is like a warm-up for heckling. It's like I can see the hecklers basically stretching out there like, yep, this is going to be fucking nice. So, they're heckling this guy, and it's nothing. It's stupid shit like, yeah, fuck you, Charlie, and it's just getting a huge laugh. So I'm like, man, I was supposed to do 45 minutes. I'm cutting time like left and right. I'm like, man, these guys have me here for an hour waiting, and there's no fucking way I'm going to get through 45 minutes with this crew. I don't know how many minutes I'm going to get through, but I had some swag with me because I was like, I just won this Boston's Best thing. I've done some hellish gigs in the past where I've flipped it and killed. I did a fucking backyard earlier in the summer for 30 people, no mic, no fucking stage or anything. You would think it would be god-awful. It was one of the funnest gigs I had this summer. So I like to think of myself as a comedian who can turn terrible situations into good ones and entertain no matter what. And I also think I've risen to that challenge many times in the past. I've done some cool-ass things with bad shows, and it's a point of pride. I'm one of those guys. I don't pull up to a house and see a demo. I'm not saying let's tear it down and rebuild. I look at it and I say, I can fix this house. I can make this house better than it was before. And people will drive by and say, no fucking way. How the fuck did that house turn out like that? I never would have thought in a million years it was possible. And then I just come out from the front door and I'm like, good morning. Would you like to hear the story about how I renovated this house? I just used a little blood, sweat, and tears, elbow grease, and hard work. And they're like, wow. That's how I see myself as a comedian. And I didn't go on stage in a bad mood whatsoever. I was like, hey, I'm getting paid to be here. It's not going to be a great gig. 100% male audience, 100% white male audience, 100% white male over 45 audience, 100% rich white male over 45 years old audience. Super easy to perform for. Oh, super rich white male over 45-year-old audience, about 300. And, well, you know what? This is where I'm going to play the audio because I just... You'll see.
I'll go through it quick because there's a lot of results, but we'll go through the net first. Fourth place net winning $100 each with a 62 and a 33 on the back nine. And it's $100 total. It's cash. Third place, 4 minutes, I promise, or else the comedian's going to kill me. For those of you that are new, and for those of you that have played before but forget, it's 64 teams. The Boston Award went to Will Noonan, and that's who we brought in. We had no idea that he was the best comedian, but he did get the Best Comedian Award. It is ironic that we have a Caddyshack theme, and Will Noonan is our comedian. But if I could have a warm applause for our comedian, Will Noonan.
Get him, Willie! Thank you. Jesus Christ, that was fucking boring. Oh my God, did you guys get the fucking picture? Wake up, play golf, come here, go home. That's all you need to know. How are you guys? You feeling good? Alright, he's had enough already. Alright. Time to test the blood sugar. Alright, guys. I'm looking out at this crowd. Holy shit, how about someone makes a black friend next year, huh? You might want to win this tournament once in a while. Just because Tiger sucks now doesn't mean they all do, right? Come on, make a friend. They won't kick you out of the club. Not if everyone does it. He still doesn't know what I'm talking about. I know, we're all excited you shot under 100 today, sir. All right, come on. We got a comedy show going on.
We're counting his money.
You're counting his money? Cool. Well, a lot of it's gone to Rogaine. I can see that from here.
This is a fucking choice, buddy.
Yeah, it's a choice. I'm sure it is, pal. It's all a choice.
It works at Six Flags.
It was your wife's choice. She's like, get rid of the fucking ponytail, okay? I've had enough of this. Let it go, Brad. Doesn't smell good either. It smells like downtown Worcester on a rainy day. All right. Peace out. All right, that went terribly. The microphone broke, and I'll be smoking weed in your parking lot right after this. Anyway, fuck. I think this microphone battery's dying from the 2 hours of announcements you guys made before the show. But anyway. So anyway. Where's a dead body, right? Dalmatians, they're just like, who's got the best spaghetti recipe in the firehouse? Let's go get laid. Cool, this is gonna be fucking easy doing comedy for you guys right now, I feel it. Jesus Christ. It's like looking out at like 400 prom dates dads who don't like you right now. That's exactly what it feels like. You're all like, my fucking good Jesus. I've been playing golf all day, listening to the asshole I brought here. Now I gotta listen to this asshole. Well, I've already been paid, so this is happening. Alright, I'm fucking going through material faster than I ever do up here. Holy shit. Damn. Right, get to the funny stuff. Hilarious, dude. Why don't you get to the skinny clothing? That's alright, buddy. Has your face always been that red, or is it just when you drink? Is that how it goes? Alright. Some insults you guys don't like, some of you do. New location for the barbecue tomorrow, guys, in case it rains. We'll be on the porch. Remember the gala right after the Royal Playoff. Get your free loafers on the way out, remember. In case you forgot you're a rich white person, get your loafers. So you know. I'm sure all the black golf tournaments are handing out free loafers today. Jesus, me and the loafer guy were going through your cars, by the way. So I don't feel bad about any of this. I'm like, Dad, I don't know, but he's not lying. You know, the tattoos are out there. I know a lot of you guys are young, single and dating right now, so you're probably seeing a lot of tattoos. You know, sorry. I thought you guys were talking to me, but they're just setting up a coke deal for later. Just kidding. Holy shit, unless it's not a joke. All right, the wrong table to make fun of. Anyway, I'm gonna smoke so much weed on the Mass Pike tonight. It's not even funny. If anyone knows the state trooper, I need his number before I leave, just in case. That's a joke too. Oh yeah, tattoos on chicks. Thank fucking God. So, strictly prohibited. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's what you want. This guy. That's what you hear. So anyway, I'm gonna wrap this up in a few minutes. Please, is right. I'm taking at least one of these chefs home with me. And I've got fresh beef or something in the car. But before I go, I want to fulfill my obligation here. Do 5 more minutes of jokes. Feels like temperature on the weather. That's a bunch of bullshit. Am I right? I know we got a bunch of scientists in here. I can tell by looking at you. Feels like there's nothing more Catholic than pulling out before you're finished. The belly blast. The belly blast. Yeah.
Do I have to draw a diagram for you?
No, I don't think you even could, sir. That's amazing. We're, the belly blast, the BB, the B squared, some people like to call it. Laying down a bunt. A push bunt. But anyway, this guy's giving me a lot of stuff to think about on my next date. Like, when I go out with one of these chicks from Tinder, and I'd be like, what's up with that belly? When was the last time it's been blasted? And she'll be like, you must know Steve from the country club. That guy drives with a cigar in his mouth, so you know his dick is big. This guy doesn't like you. All right. But anyway, golfers, this has been a lot of fun for me. I want to leave on one last thing, and I want it to take a long time because I'm definitely not coming back next year, so might as well do this. I've noticed this thing, dating. You know, when I'm serious now. When I'm trying to get my blast onto bellies out there, I gotta go out on a date first. You know, I don't have the awesome personality and fantastic head of hair that guy has. Right, go out. I guess so. What do you do for a living?
I'm not a comedian.
Why'd you laugh at that? That wasn't any funnier than my shitty jokes. Are you Italian? Close to the vest. I know you're Italian because you answer questions like I'm a cop.
We have cops in the room.
Good. They don't want to be identified. You just blew their cover, bro. No one wants to. What is this guy important? Everyone's looking at me like they're scared. He's not, right? No. Fuck this guy. He's the only one out of this whole group that sat with his back to me the whole time, so I just noticed. I thought it was just an ugly person, but then I noticed it was the back of his head.
Looks the same both sides.
You said, what's that?
Looks the same both sides.
Looks the same both sides. That's one of the cops. Are you a cop? Absolutely not. Awesome.
Actually, yes, I am. I like this term.
This is great, guys. This is taking up more time, so I'm super happy. Honest to God, though, you know, all weird awkwardness that we're all sitting in right now aside, I had a lot of fun today. And I just don't know if you guys agree with this or not, but I feel like there's a new chick voice out there. It's just like, I think it starts in high school. It's too weird. It's too weird to even keep going right now, I feel like, with this joke. Like, this joke is, it ends with a funeral, but I feel like the funeral already happened now. I think that guy made it weird, not me. Well, anyway, I'm gonna take my Red Sox pussy tattoos out of here. But you know what? I don't know. What should we do? About his job right now. You're fine. I'll go back to Bushwood or whatever the fuck it is. All right, here's the deal. This is a little weird for me, but I've been in weirder situations than this. I found a lost kid at Castle Island the other day. You know how fucking weird that is for a single guy in his 30s? That's scarier for me than it was for the child, you know? But I found his mom, just like I'm gonna find one more funny thing to say and get the fuck out of here. You guys could make it easier if you just laughed at one thing, but it's so brutally tough. So I've been thinking about the sounds I make in the bedroom, you know what I mean? That's the number one thing I make. You know, it seems like this is the time for a shaky joke, so let's do it. I've been thinking about the sounds I make in the bedroom, you know? Because I dated a girl for a little while. She only made one sound all the time, on a loop, no matter what. Yeah, 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 I don't know if you've ever had sex with a ringtone before. I'm Bill Cosby. Thank you guys very much. Have a good night.
So I think the mistakes, I made a lot of mistakes there. I can't put everything on the crowd. I was trying a lot of different things. I was trying a lot of different tactics. But I think one of the big mistakes there, and this is a mistake I really haven't made probably in solid 5 years. But I let them know, I let my dislike for that heckler truly show. I let my dislike, I didn't like that guy. I perform for people I don't like all the time, but for some reason this time I didn't hide it so well. Or maybe I thought it would be funny to joke about, but it didn't go over. And yeah, I think maybe a youngish guy is not the right fit, and the delay hurt me and all that stuff, but it was definitely on me a little bit. I didn't bring my A game, and that guy like got to me a little bit, which is stupid. After this long doing comedy and having been heckled this many times, and it really doesn't normally get under my skin very much, but this fucking guy, I walked out there and he, turned his back to me and started talking to the people at his table every time I talked, and I just took it kind of personally, which you really shouldn't do. I don't know why it felt that way. It was probably just because I was having like the month I was having, and I was stressed and pissed off, but it was tough, man. I drove all the way back to Boston. Sort of. I mean, I wasn't as angry as I'd been in the past, as you've heard on some of these podcasts, but I was definitely chewing on it, and I could see that guy's face sometimes when I closed my eyes. So that pissed me the fuck off. But, man, holy shit. I hope you guys enjoyed that audio, because I did not enjoy doing the gig, and I almost was never just going to never talk about that. But because I love the people who listen to this podcast, and I think it's a learning experience for all of us to be able to listen to things like that. So I figured it'd be a good thing to include. Before I get to the thank yous and fucking wrap this bitch up, I wanted to talk about I shot a commercial. That was fun. I got nothing to complain about there. We went down to Rhode Island, shot some commercials for South Coast Urgent Care, and those will come out if you're in Rhode Island. You will be seeing those all year, and it was a great time. Car accident, bombed. All right, I think all right. This has been a little interesting, so I want to talk about real quick. You may have noticed new theme song on the podcast this week. I think I'm going to stick with this for a while. It's me playing guitar. It's my original it's just a little ditty that I kind of wrote. Little guitar lick type deal that I wrote. I don't know, years ago. I just played. It's something I kind of play when I tune up my guitar. It's something I just kind of play to warm up my fingers. But I've always kind of liked it. And I was using I got sick of the old theme song of this podcast, which I play at the end still. And then I was using the Spook School song for a little while, but it kept getting me fucking copyrighted, claimed on a bunch of different things, and there was a bunch of problems with that. So I wanted to go back to an original thing. So this is what I'm using for now. I encourage anyone out there to take it and fucking put drums on it, remix it, do whatever the fuck you want to do, and I'll basically use anything anyone sends me. We're coming out with a new logo soon. I got a couple people who I like just working on logo. Actually, just one guy right now working on a logo. He's going to take a stab at it. I don't have any idea what I want. Which is a terrible way to ask for things. But if you'd like to take a stab at it too, you can email me at willnoonandcomedy@gmail.com and send me that shit. So I have played guitar since I was 12 or 13 years old. I never really brought it into comedy except for on the Surprise-O album, where I end my set with a song. But I have written maybe 7 or 8 comedy songs. I've only ever performed or released one. Because they're just not that good, to be honest with you guys. But they're fun to write and fun to play. But I never really was into bringing my guitar playing type stuff into stand-up, because I just was like, whatever. It's something I kind of do to relax, something I do for fun. I love to just smoke some weed and just play guitar, for fun for 20 minutes. But when I was broke for that whole month, I was like, I need a fucking hobby that doesn't cost any money. I need something to make me happy and pass the time that doesn't cost any money. And I look at the wall, and I get this fucking beautiful acoustic guitar. It's older than me. It's almost twice as old as... No, it's 50... Yeah, it's like almost 60 years old, 58-year-old guitar that I play. It was a gift from my friend's dad. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, why don't I ever fucking play that thing anymore? I just pick it up, I fucking play a couple chords, I hang it up, put it back, you know? So I started getting really back into playing guitar again, and, you know, I started looking for fun songs to learn and fun songs to play, and I kind of realized that all the stuff I wanted to play was, like, these old, like, Hank Williams and Merle Haggard, like, country songs. I just got into it. I don't know, like, what it is. And then I started listening to more and more country type stuff. And, kind of open, you know, Apple Music does this thing where when you start listening to something, it starts suggesting other things you might like. And let me tell you, man, your boy Will Noonan's getting real into country music lately. You know how I get into phases, like pro wrestling, soccer, running, I guess, even though that's kind of been a constant. I think country music might be the next one, because I'm just feeling it, man. I've been, like, watching a lot of concerts online and playing a bunch of new songs, and I got a bunch of different reasons why. And let me be clear. There's a couple of, like, modern pop type country songs I like, but for the most part, I'm pretty much into the old classic country and what they call outlaw country, which, you know, as a comedian and outlaw myself, I really relate with. But yeah, man, I kind of just got into this, and then I downloaded Mike Judge's show about outlaw, like, guys like on the tour bus, and it's an animated documentary type show. It's hilarious. I fucking strongly recommend it. It's on Cinemax, called, like, Tales from the Tour Bus. And you can pay for it on Amazon. That's what I did. And super good. So I've been enjoying this new... I always love getting into something new because I can just fucking dig my heels into the... No, not dig my heels. That's not the right way to say it. But I can just dig into all the info, you know. I don't know jack shit really about country music. But then I realized, this is what's funny about drinking and quitting drinking. I started to remember that I had kind of a country music phase during my drinking time that I had completely forgotten about. So a lot of the songs, I was like, why do I know all the words to this song? I was like, oh yeah, because I used to like it when I was like a shit-faced alcoholic, because I would like listen to songs about whiskey because I just loved whiskey so much. That was pretty much it. Not much deeper than that. But so, you know, my friends are making fun of me because I've always been a hip-hop guy, and most of my friends listen to hip-hop, and I've always listened to a bunch of different type of music. But like, my friends who listen to indie rock think I'm weird. My friends who listen to hip-hop think I'm weird. My brother thinks I'm weird. Everyone thinks I'm fucking weird, but I'm digging it. So I've been playing a lot more guitars. Like, I'm gonna play this new theme song, and we'll see what else comes from this. Also, my brother took me to that fantastic Red Sox-Yankee game where when Steve Pearce hit 3 home runs. Oh my god. And I was like 3 rows behind home plate. It was this fucking bomb. I love my brother, and I love that he got those season tickets a couple years ago. And today I got a private tour of Fenway Park because my buddy Andrew Schultz is filming a TV show, and we were filming it today, and we went in there, got a little private tour of Fenway Park. So that is fucking awesome. The Red Sox are just so good this year. I know a lot of you listeners don't care about sports or care about Boston sports especially, but holy shit, do I love the Red Sox this year. So, you know, I know this podcast kind of started off me bitching and moaning, as I often do, about fucking money and bookers and the comedy business and all that shit, but you guys know me, you know I'm trying to keep it happy and keep it fun and stay positive. So on that note, and with that, let's wrap this up with some thank yous. Okay, so let's pretend like I just won a real award. All right, and the winner for Boston's Best Comedian is Will Noonan. This thing on? Oh wow! Oh my God! It feels heavier in real life. I just think, wow! You know, this is a shock. I did not think that this was going to happen. So I didn't really prepare anything. Let me just take this out. Okay, first of all, want to thank John Tobin, Ryan Cott from John Tobin Presents here in Boston. Those guys, I wouldn't be a Boston comic if it wasn't for those guys. Kyle Plouffe, another guy I need to thank when I first moved up here. He introduced me to them. He said, Nick's is the best club in the city. It's where I hang. It's where you should hang. And he was dead fucking on. And honestly, those guys have been so good to me so many times over the years. And I wouldn't be even close to as successful or as busy as I've been without those two guys. So, like, I never forget it. And thank you guys so much. So that's the big one. Gotta thank John Tobin, Ryan Cott. Also, I gotta thank Jeff Cole down in New York City. Got me started. Taught me a lot about just the ins and outs of comedy when I first started, and was just a great, supporter. Gave me a lot of opportunities in my early days. So Jeff Cole's another guy I can never ever forget. I'm already thinking right now, I'm gonna forget so many people on this thing, but it's important to me that I get it out. My mother and father, have been incredibly supportive through the ups and downs of having a kid who's been trying to do show business for a million years. And, when I needed a couple $100, they gave it to me. But more importantly, when I just was low and I needed just fucking parental love, they were there for me. And they never were fucking hard-ons about having a kid who wanted to be an artist. And they were always supportive. We had not every day was a fucking parade, but compared to a lot of the people I meet, I had and have some great parents. And I cherish them a lot. My brother and sister, the same thing. My sister, she probably doesn't even know how important she is. When I was quitting drinking, she was in my corner a lot, and she used to tell me all the time that she knew I would do fine in comedy if I just got sober and stuck with it. And that always meant a lot to me, and my brother as well. He's my best friend. So thank them, of course. My roommate and best friend Pat Barrett, Nick Ramage, Dante Fugazzato. I gotta thank the girls from Cotton Southie, Maureen, Heather, my buddy Paul. These are the people in my life, These are the people in my life, man. Gotta thank the girls at Cumbies, Destiny, Carmen, Tiffany, Lisette, Jess, and the guys, Sully, Nunzio, Richie, Chris, Rokon. Those are my homies, man. I miss the Cumbies people when I go. I know I'm taking too long. This is a different type of award show. Cumbies people keep me fucking happy. Andy Picaro, Paul Verzi. Oh, fuck. Allie Lerman, I owe so much to. Anthony Cunha, I owe so much to. Brian. I always call John Serrano Brian first. John, Garrett, everyone over there, I owe a lot to. But I owe Cunha a lot. Allie got me on and let me on. But Cunha was the guy who was cool enough to have me on over and over and over again, even though I'm not that famous. So I gotta thank Cunha. Gotta thank Rydoon. Cunha and Rydoon have made most of my fans. Cunha, Rydoon, and Artie Lang. But Cunha is responsible for Artie Lang. So Cunha and Rydoon are they're responsible for most of my fan base. Those two guys. So I'll never forget. I'll never forget that shit. Rydoon put me on. A lot of people were like, yeah, it was just Vine or whatever. But a lot of people were introduced to this podcast that way. A lot of the listeners of this podcast came through Vine, and that was all Rydoon helping me out. So I want to thank him. Orny Adams gave me a lot of opportunities. Joe Matarese gave me a lot of opportunities. Tony V, Jimmy Dunn. Jimmy Dunn, big extra fucking star next to Jimmy Dunn. That guy's helped me so much and continues to. I call him anytime I need advice, man. That guy knows his shit. Rob Steen is another guy. He's infamous a little bit for his payments of comics, but let me tell you, that guy, I learned a lot about comedy doing his gigs. I learned a lot about how to handle crowds doing his gigs, and he gave me a lot of stage time. Again, when I'm not famous, nothing. Put me on a lot of stages in front of thousands of people, and he's a great fucking guy, so want to give it up for Rob Steen, too. The Weekly Dig, John Loftus at The Weekly Dig, Chris Ferrone. Skype, the people at Skype who hooked me up. Man, there's so many. I'm fucking forgetting a lot. Andrew Schultz, he's helped me out today and a lot of other days. But, you know, I should probably make a list and do this proper. But for now, I think that'll do. I gotta thank all the guys in Boston, too, who give me stage time all the time. Brian Higginbottom, Dylan Krasinski, Sam Ike, Luke Tuma when he was here. Fuck, man. Tons of guys. Brett Johnson. I mean, anyone who's ever put me on a bar show. It's fucking nice. You know, this podcast started with bitching about the life of a comedian, but as I read off all these names and I realize how many fucking cool people I know, I realize I'm kind of blessed and kind of a lucky guy. I know the word blessed is kind of overplayed and bullshit, but you know what? Fuck y'all. I'm feeling it right now. I'm feeling the love. So you know what? Thank you guys. Thank you for listening. Thank the people who voted. Thanks to everyone. It's nothing but love right now. The fucking bad times are over. The good times are coming. This podcast is back, and we have a live episode taping at Laugh Boston September 5th. So I need y'all to come out. It's going to be a fucking zoo. I got some big surprises in store. So that's September 5th at Laugh Boston. All right, guys. This has been the return. Changes are coming. Logo changes. Theme song changes. Who fucking knows, you know? But we back, baby. So thank you for listening, and remember, if no one told you they love you today, I do. Peace out, motherfuckers. Turn off the AC. Christ. Should I get that mic down? Fucking shit. Get that mic up. Thank you. Trying to get him up. Fucking theme song. 1, 2, 3. Take 4. 1, 2, 3. Here we go. Theme song. Okay. I'm going down the gas station, gonna get a ticket to ride. Find a big fat lady with 2 or 3 kids and sit down by her side. Let the sun go up around me around 2 or 3 times. Get away from it all. Go down when people say, y'all, feed the pigeons some clay. Sing a song with you. Wonder what I sound like. Let me try and play that on here and just see what it sounds like. It's gonna be some fucking serious bonus content if I put it out as bonus content. I'm going down to the ground station, wanna get a ticket to ride. I'm going down to the ground station. I'm going down to the ground station. Gonna buy a ticket to ride. I'm gonna find a fat lady with 2 or 3 kids and sit down by her side. Feels weird. I'm going down. A little lower. I'm going down to the ground station. I'm gonna get a ticket to ride. Here we go. I'm going down to the ground station. I'm gonna get a ticket to ride. Gonna find that lady with 2 or 3 kids and sit down by her side. Ride till the train comes up and down me around 2 or 3 times. Smoking cigarettes in the last seat. Trying to hide my sorrow from the people I meet and get away with it all. Go around when people say, y'all, sing a song with a friend. Change the shape that I'm in and get back in the game, start playing again. I'd like to stay, but I might have to go to start over again. Might go back down to Texas or somewhere that I've never been. Get up in the morning and go out at night. I won't have to go home. Get used to being alone and change the words of the song and start singing again. I'm tired of running around looking for answers to questions I already know. I could build me a castle of memories just to have somewhere to go. the days and the nights that it takes to get in the saddle again. I'm still working on it. Feed the pigeons some clay and turn the night into day. And start talking again when I know what to say. I'm going down to the Greyhound station, gonna buy a ticket to ride. Gonna find that lady with 2 or 3 kids and sit down by her side. Ride till the sun comes up around me about 2 or 3 times. Smoke cigarettes in the back seat. Try to hide my sorrow from the people I meet and get along with it all. Put down what people say, y'all. Feed the pigeons some clay and turn the night into day. Start talking again when I know what to say. Yeah, well, don't worry. I'm not quitting comedy.